REA's November Encore auction ended last night, so I want to take a look at the top 25 sales. Included there is typical vintage and pre-war baseball, as well as Michael Jordan cards, and even a Tom Brady. Then after that, what we're going to do is take a look at some honorable mentions. We'll take a look at some non-sports, as well as boxing, golf, and then some vintage basketball. So let's take a look at these top sales. All right, so we have the top 25 loaded up over here. Let's start going through them. So up first, we have a 1953 Topps Mickey Mantle, his second card produced by Topps. And overall, I think this is a pretty strong copy based off of what I see sometimes with these 53s. You typically see a lot of edge wear across here at the top and most commonly down over here. But nice copy over here, and it sold for $57.60. Up next, we have a refractor of Michael Jordan. Super old label. And it's tough to tell the surface on these through a slab and a scan. Take a look at this over here. 96 was the first year of Topps Chrome, I believe. Not the first refractors, those were back in 1993. And this copy in a PSA 9, it sold for $6,000. Up next, another Michael Jordan. We have a 1986 Fleer in a PSA 8 grade. Obviously, a card that a ton of different collectors, basketball and non-basketball collectors, always want to try to grab in their PC. These are down quite a bit since the hobby boom, especially the one that impacted a lot of more modern basketball cards. Probably the reason for the 8 is this down over here. Let's take a look at this back over here too. Back looks pretty clean. Yeah, you can see definitely has that damage over here just shown on the front, but overall I think it's a pretty nice and clean copy, modern label as well. 6300. All right, we're looking at a Babe Ruth 1933 Gaudy, one of his 4 Gaudy cards that year, and a lot of staining on this one, rounded corners, the typical low grade copy. Personally, I'd be okay with either this being a 1.5 or a 2. And here's our 1.5 example. Honestly, I think the 1.5 is cleaner, although it does have more rounded corners and a bit of paper loss, I think, right over there. And also big stain there. It looks like there's a big crease. Yeah, you can see this crease. I didn't see that on the front though. Oh, I can see it now. It was hard to pick up on the scan, but you can see it's right across over there. But you don't really see it that much. And 6,600, a little bit more on that one. Okay, so next is a 1952 Canadian, but I don't think it's ever been finalized that these were Canadian releases. From some of the research that I've read, and I'm not up to date on 2024 research, so excuse me if I'm wrong. There is some still theories that these were distributed in the Midwest, not Canada. The 54 graybacks, 100% are Canada. That's been confirmed. But these aren't. This is a strong looking 3, I think, in my opinion. Well, okay, that's why we have the 3 right there. Like, the front looks really nice. I'm curious what REA says on this one. Ooh. A theory that these cards are known as Canadian issue. Yeah, but there's a bunch of other theories. Yeah. See, this is what I've heard, right? And if you watch the Collector Connection live stream, we actually talked a little bit about it. The doe skin and Kleenex tissues. The Rails and Seals non-sports issue, Tops 55 was issue with, yeah, and that's what we covered in the auction. So you definitely got to check that out. Variations in his blog. Okay, so I'm glad they talked about both sides of the history. I really hope there's some concrete evidence in the future, whether this was Canadian or Midwest release, or maybe it was like a mixture of both. Either way, these are extremely tough, and if you ever see these in person, um, probably won't, but there's always a chance that a modern dealer has a stack of 52s, and these one or two of these Canadian graybacks sneak in. They have no idea what it is, but very, very strong price, as you can see, for that in that 3. Just something you don't see every day, right? We have another Jordan in an 8. This sold for $6,900. We're not going to talk too much about the card, but let's see this one. I mean, I think it's about the same in my opinion, just looking at them side to side. Maybe it doesn't have as much of a damage on the corners as the other one. $600 difference. You be the judge. Which one you want? Oh, we have an Otani green, number to 10. I still think Otani stuff is a bit too expensive, but I do understand he's the most popular athlete in Japan. Obviously, playing for the Dodgers. There's a lot going for him. Dual player. If he continues this up for a very long time, obviously going to be considered a GOAT. His career is still pretty short, in my opinion. But what I saw is he accumulated over 40 WAR already, and that's super impressive too. And not finalized yet, but he's probably going to win an MVP again. Still, 7,500 for that. Man, can we go back to 2018 and buy a bunch of those, right? 51 Bowman mantle. Looks like it's just that crease right there. Corners don't look too bad. Obviously, there's a little bit of damage on that side of things, but it's a pretty clean copy. You can see a little bit of a gum stain here on the back. I mean, nothing much else to say. These sell quite a bit. But from far away, it's pretty good eye appeal. 54 Aaron, rookie card in A6. Off-centered. 54s tend to have some issues with centering, but looks fairly clean. Really great colors on this copy. And if you go in the back, what I always like doing is checking the edges to see how much it chipped. I don't know, for me, that's a big pet peeve of 54s, is I look at that side of things. Not too bad. I mean, obviously there's some chipping over there, but that's quite common on the release. But definitely these colors look great on this copy. Check this one out, the triple auto. This is one of my favorite cards if you can find a triple auto on it, between Killebrew, Mays, and Mantle. 500 home run club. Such a great card. Unfortunately, that Mays isn't the best autograph on here. Is that a fingerprint? I can't tell if that's a fingerprint right there or not on Killebrew. I don't think there's a ton of these that are signed, and this sold for $7,800. On the card itself, doesn't look too bad. I mean, these 68s are always tough to judge. It looks like a little damage there. Oh, I see a little bit more here. Maybe it's like a 3. Maybe a 3. Yeah, I think probably a 3 grade, just based off of that. And that's why they went with authentic, which makes sense. We have a Red Heart dog food. I was talking about this release once with a dealer, and it was assumed that these were still being distributed well after 1954. But it still is a great mantle card, at least in my opinion, based off of the design. And it is a bit scarcer than some of the other Tops releases. See, the slab does have a little bit of damage. Cost you, what, $15 to get that fixed. But still. Look, in the 1960s, 70s, Bruce Yecko's wholesale cards had a quantity of high-grade Red Hearts in stock directly from the company. Mint mantles originally priced at $0.25 each. Wow. That's amazing. So is that from the collection then? I assume it is. I assume it is. All right. We're gonna jump into the E106 Hannes Wagner Caramel. Early Wagner stuff, I mean, just really has taken off the last few years. Was this a 1.5? I didn't even look at the grade. Oh, that's an old label too. I still have that pet peeve of like getting the new labels and stuff. I feel like people will pay more, especially for high end cards. Anyways, yeah, I was gonna say Croft Scandy and stuff like that. Document Sons. 20 examples of this have been graded by SGC. I wonder how many of that are by PSA also. I wonder if anyone has the run of like all the Wagners with this front and then all the different types of backs. I know they're different releases, but still, I'd be curious. I'm sure there is. We have a 51 Bowman Mays in A5. Also curious how these have been doing since he passed away. I feel like a lot of that price was baked into people thinking he was going to pass away soon. Rough edges, which you do see on these 51s. Easy way to tell if it's authentic, though. Look at the back. Gum stain also a little bit right over there. Ooh, that's a big piece of cardboard in the back. And $11,000 for this copy. We have another E106. Batting version. Well, I'll sell it $11,700. It's also a 3 in comparison to that 2. Much cleaner copy. This one, talked a little bit about it already. We'll jump into this 52 Maze in a 4.5. I think this is a pretty strong 4.5. Just looking from it a little bit away. Pretty good centering. Sometimes you'll see these that are like terribly off-centered for the 52s. Corners look good. Honestly, I wouldn't even be disappointed if this was a 5. I think it has that appeal. I think it's nicer than a lot of the older label 5s that I've seen. And that's sold for $12,600. Oxford Confectionery, Babe Ruth. Steven actually owns one of these. I can't remember if he owns it in a 1 or 1.5. What did the sell price on this? 13.2. I think that's probably about market on these right now. I mean, these are super hard to find. They don't populate that often, and even low end Hall of Famers, they're pretty expensive in this set. 49 Leaf, Jackie Robinson in a 4. See, like, I don't think this is the strongest 4. I don't think this gets a 4 today if it's graded. I think it's more gets a 3. Still an important card for him. A lot of people want this. But in my opinion, save up for a nicer 4. Another 86 Jordan. This is our third one in here. Old label 9. And what did this sell for? 16,000. I don't know. I think some of those 8s look just as nice as this 9, if not nicer. You can see we have that over here. Centering on the back is a little bit off. Are you paying for the label on that one? I think someone did. Another 33 Gaudy. This is a 3. Let's copy of the Ruth. So much nicer than that 2 we saw a little bit earlier. But obviously there's a significant bump in pricing. That's interesting how much damage that one corner has. But a little bit of staining right over there too. 17,000, 3.5. I mean, it does have really strong colors though. Jumping into the modern side of things, this is our top 5 2000 playoffs Tom Brady autograph. This will always be an iconic card within the hobby. BGS graded non 100 over here, so just the base copy of the autograph, but still incredible card at $17,400. Although Brady stuff is still down since he retired, and obviously that's partly due to the modern card market going down a bit, but Another 51 Bowman Maze. This is A6. Different type of slab though. Looks like a slab within a slab, but nice clean copy on this one. Sold for 22,000. Really scaling up now. We're up to 24,000. Also, a Mickey Mantle in a 5. Same type of slab as well. Pretty clean copy. Let's turn over to the back. No gum stains. Although some of this ink is a little bit faded, it looks like on there, so I didn't get the best strike when they're printing these out. $52 Mantle and a 1. $32,000. Probably about going right. These are $30,000 in ones. Multiple creases. Not the worst one I've seen, which is why I went for 32 rather than sub 30. But probably just right around market on those. And lastly, before we jump into some honorable mentions, 1933 Gaddy Ruth in a 5. Yeah, a nice clean copy, and it's sold for $37,000. I still think Gaudis are way overpriced compared to some of the other early Ruth stuff, but that's what the market dictates, and it is a classic set. So there's that. Let's take a look at a few honorable mentions here. So that was top 25. I'm a non-sports. That's what I like the best. Indian Silk Chiefs. I don't really collect those. We have a Monsters open pack. Civil War News on open pack. Some of these jockeys over here. The only one I really want to talk about a little bit, Leaders of Men, Lincoln in a 6, $156. I mean, this is a very cheap set, but when you do start getting higher grades, mostly you have to get 6 plus. People do pay up a little bit for these 24 Ogdens. When I say that general, but really just the Washington and Lincoln in that set, and a lot of other stuff's cheap. I'm surprised these have held up so well. This 1970 Led Zeppelins. These are discards. They're pretty easy to get in high grade. This is a 9. I do have a 10 or multiple 10s in my PC. I can't remember, 1 or 2. I have to also remember too, there's 2 different designs on these. Always be careful. Double check with them. There's actually 3 circular discs, but some of the ones that are labeled 1970 are actually the 73s. Let me just load this up for you guys. So they messed up that listing. Well, PSA really messed that up. So this is the one right here that you want to look for. And this is on eBay. It's sold on eBay. Here you go. This is the true 1970. Right here. That one is actually a 72. So when I said 73, I was a year off. But this is the 1971. This is the one that you want to look for. Nothing wrong with that one card where it's over here, but if you're paying 1970 prices for this, it's the wrong year. That's 72. So just as a little bit of a heads up for you guys if you are looking for Led Zeppelin cards. Going back to non-sports, there was H602s that sold. You have Grant in a 5. What else do you have over here? D117 Famous Men graded collection of 5. Battle scenes, these are a little popular. Monroe 6.5. Obviously Grant outsells Monroe. Then we have a Garfield in a 5, sold for $96. These HD 2As, they aren't super popular, but you can see a Grant sold for $84, which is about market rate. I think that's what I wanted to cover. You can see the Ogden Edison in a 5 sold for $60. Debatable if you want to get those graded or not. They have a few other presidents in here as well. So there's that side of things for non-sports. Then basketball wise, pretty cool. Mikan exhibits 3.5. Much cheaper than his Bowman if you want to find an entry level, right? You have this, and I think it's the Kellogg. The other kind of cool things that were in here. Let me see. 1983 Patrick Ewing and Michael Jordan Associated Press laser photo. That was interesting. But really explore this if you want. 87 complete set. Always cover those in the junk wax videos. Those go insane. And you can even see over here, 88 Jordan 8, $90. So there's those. And then lastly, this is just kind of like miscellaneous sports. First, Turkey Red, Jack Johnson. I always have these in the background of my video. I love these cards. I just wish they were smaller sized. I feel like they aren't appreciated as much being super large size, although they do present well. And then just over here in general, is there anything else that I wanted to cover? Oh yeah, the Liebigs. I think this was cheap at 130 bucks for the set of 6. And yeah, that's essentially it for this REA auction. I think this was an Encore. Oh yeah, November 2024 Encore. So it wasn't one of their bigger auctions, but it still had a ton of great stuff. If you want anything in this auction, let me know. And I kind of want to go back to this format rather than the slides. I kind of have a little bit more fun going through all these listings and checking them out. Although I don't know if I like putting the honorable mentions here at the end. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to subscribe, and if you're brand new, and I will see you guys in another one.